The drama surrounding the press conference between Terence "Bud" Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez was the kind of electricity boxing thrives on. Raw tension, unfiltered words, and the unmistakable sense that two men are preparing not just for a fight, but for a collision of eras. When Crawford leaned forward and unleashed his fiery retort, declaring that he doesn't chase knockouts but doesn't hesitate to put a man down if he dares step out of line, the room erupted. This wasn't polite hype or manufactured drama. It was a glimpse into the mentality of a fighter who sees no man as too big, no stage too bright, and no challenge too daunting. Crawford, often understated outside the ropes, made it clear that this fight isn't simply about belts, weight divisions, or promotional taglines. It's personal, a matter of respect, and in his own words, if Canelo dares to disrespect him, things could turn ugly fast. In that moment, Crawford's intensity became undeniable. He wasn't a guest in Canelo's division. He wasn't the smaller man begging for an opportunity. He was the storm that had arrived to take everything. For a fighter who has quietly built a resume as immaculate as any in modern boxing, an undefeated record, 41 wins, 31 of them by knockout, championships across 4 weight divisions, Crawford has somehow remained, in the eyes of many, underappreciated. He is the technician's technician, a southpaw with blistering speed, adaptability, and a mind that rewrites the terms of every fight in real time. Yet because of his calm demeanor and his lack of theatrics outside the ring, his greatness has often spoken in whispers, while others shouted. Until now. The press conference changed the tone. Crawford's explosion wasn't just a heated exchange. It was a declaration that the time for whispers is over. "You talking too much," he spat at Canelo, interrupting the usual politeness of pre-fight build-ups. "You want some attention? Put the camera on him, 'cause that's what he doing, showing out like a female." It was raw, unpolished, a flash of emotion that cut through the rehearsed smiles of most boxing promotions. The words themselves weren't poetry, but the message was crystal clear. Crawford refuses to be overlooked, refuses to be dismissed, and refuses to walk quietly into the biggest fight of his life. That confidence, according to trainer and analyst Greg Hackett, is what separates Crawford from the rest. Hackett has long argued that Crawford's edge lies not just in his skills, but in his refusal to be intimidated. Where other men look into Canelo's eyes and see the weight of 70 fights of belts and legacy, Crawford sees only another man. For Hackett, this isn't arrogance. It's the hard-earned product of a lifetime of discipline and adaptation. To face Canelo Alvarez requires more than hand speed or stamina. It requires unshakable belief. And Crawford, in Hackett's eyes, has never lacked belief. But belief is not enough on its own. At the heart of this fight lies one burning question. Can Crawford take Canelo's punch? That is the thread every analyst pulls on, the uncertainty that shapes every prediction. Because make no mistake, Canelo Alvarez is not just another champion. He is a living monument to Mexican boxing, a man who turned professional at 15, who has faced Floyd Mayweather, Gennady Golovkin, Sergey Kovalev, Miguel Cotto, and so many more. He carries with him the granite chin, the iron will, and the punishing power that has ended countless nights early. As Adam Smith, one of boxing's most respected commentators, observed, this is not simply another fight. It is a monumental step up. And yet, Smith does not see it as unwinnable. Crawford's IQ inside the ring is almost unmatched. He adapts faster than anyone, reads opponents like a book, and punishes even the smallest mistakes with surgical precision. Against a fighter like Canelo, whose defensive brilliance is sometimes betrayed by a willingness to slow the pace and conserve energy, Crawford's speed and creativity could be the deciding factors. Smith believes if Crawford wins, it will be on points, outthinking and outmaneuvering the bigger man over 12 brutal rounds. Yet not everyone shares this optimism. Critics like Adi Oladipo argue that while the fight has been branded as the fight of the century, it lacks the organic demand and competitive balance that defined matchups like Usyk versus Fury or Mayweather versus Pacquiao. For Oladipo, this feels less like destiny and more like marketing, two names thrown together to create spectacle. Without the natural rivalry, without the venomous trash talk, he worries the fight feels flat compared to the great super fights of the past. And indeed, the promotional push has been massive, almost overwhelming. Netflix's involvement has turned the bout into more than just a boxing match. It is an event, complete with behind-the-scenes documentaries, press coverage, and global reach far beyond the sport's usual confines. For casual fans, it has been billed as the fight of the century, a cultural moment. But among purists, there remains skepticism. Legendary commentator Al Bernstein gave voice to that hesitation, noting that this was not the fight fans were clamoring for. Crawford versus Spence was. Canelo versus Benavidez was. And yet, here we are, with tickets selling by the tens of thousands, with the eyes of the world fixed on a fight no one truly asked for. But everyone will watch. And then, of course, there is the transformation of Terence Crawford himself. Once a lean welterweight, he now walks into press conferences looking like a sculpted middleweight, muscles defined, shoulders broad, neck thick, carrying himself with the weight of 175 pounds before cutting down to 168. The sight of him has stunned observers, many of whom believed he would be undersized. Instead, he looks terrifying, ripped, strong, and built for war. Some believe this is proof he can withstand the physical storm Canelo will bring. Others warn that muscles don't always equal durability, that added mass can slow reflexes, drain stamina, and betray a fighter in the championship rounds. Still, Crawford insists this transformation is no gimmick. He has rebuilt his body carefully with plyometrics, swimming, and sparring that mimic real combat. His confidence is not blind faith, it is preparation. And when asked about the pressure, about whether the moment might be too big, Crawford doesn't flinch. He knows Canelo will walk to the ring with an army of fans, with flags waving, with the weight of a nation behind him. He knows Canelo has been here before, under brighter lights and on bigger stages. But for Crawford, pressure is nothing new. He has fought his whole life in and out of the ring, and this to him is simply the next battle. As September 13th approaches, the narratives swirl. On one side, you have Canelo Alvarez, the veteran, the champion, the man with decades of experience, a fortress of power and composure. On the other, you have Terence Crawford, the technician, the thinker, the fighter whose greatness has quietly built in shadows and who now demands recognition under the brightest lights of all. It is a fight framed by questions that only the ring can answer. Is Canelo past his prime, his legs slower, his gas tank shorter after nearly 70 fights? Can Crawford's chin withstand the thudding power of a true super middleweight? Will size and strength overwhelm skill, or will adaptability and speed rewrite the rulebook once again? The truth is, no one knows. And that uncertainty is why the fight, whether demanded or not, has captured the world's imagination. If Canelo does what most expect, press forward, unleash his power, and impose his size, it may prove predictable, even inevitable. But if Crawford, the smaller man, the so-called underdog, walks into that ring and dismantles the king at his own weight, it will not just be an upset. It will be history. So here we stand, days away from a collision that could redefine careers, rewrite legacies, and reshape the pound-for-pound conversation for years to come. Terence Crawford, ripped, fiery, unyielding, stepping into the ring of a man who has ruled boxing for over a decade. Canelo Alvarez, seasoned, powerful, unbending, determined to remind the world that he remains the face of the sport. 2 champions, 2 legacies. One night that will decide everything. Now the question is yours. Do you believe Crawford has the speed, the adaptability, and the fire to shock the world, or will Canelo's power and experience once again prove insurmountable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's hear your predictions. And if you're as locked in for this fight as we are, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us as we follow every twist and turn of what could be the most dramatic night boxing has seen in years.